So yeah, I mean, before I begin, I thought the reason why I would choose a project in Abu Dhabi is because for me, currently, there's nothing really interesting in Dubai. I was having a look at like a lot of the projects in Dubai and they just didn't make sense. Like nothing was exciting, right? I thought. And then Joe and I had a client and he was quite heavily focused in Abu Dhabi, so got me doing a bit of research. And then I found a product where I think is really interesting. I think the value proposition here beats anything that, you can kind of get in Dubai. So yeah, Hudayriyat Island is the master development. It's by a developer called Mudon. But I think before we get into the project, you need to understand a bit about Abu Dhabi and the growth story behind Abu Dhabi, right? Because obviously there's a lot of people right now saying, Dubai market looks a bit overheated. So, Abu Dhabi might be a new interesting proposition that we can pitch to clients, and therefore we need to understand how we can position ourselves to pitch it, right? So I don't want to bore you, but I think these are the three main things we need to take into consideration when we think about Abu Dhabi, right? So the rise in international companies to ADGM. So 2024 saw a 39% increase in the overall workforce. So in the first half of 2024, we saw 2,500 new employees in the free zone alone. And then that resulted in 1,200 new licenses as well. So, there's a big shift with finance companies, including asset managers, hedge funds, wealth management, family offices. If these people, not to mention the fintech companies as well, if these people are going to be coming to Dubai, they're going to need housing, right? So I think that's the first point. The second point is that Abu Dhabi is trying to position itself in this new entertainment, leisure, cultural sort of destination, right? So with the announcement of Disneyland coming to Yas Island, it's set to be ready by 2033. And then we've got Guggenheim Museum and Natural History Museum, which is famous in London. That's going to be coming to Saadiyat. So just coming back to this, so Yas Island is like entertainment, right? You've got the F1 there, you've got golf courses there, you've got Ferrari World there, Warner Brothers you've got coming there, and then Saadiyat is like the cultural district, right? Where you've got all the museums. And then I thought this was quite interesting, right? So these are the trends that we need to be aware of. So population growth currently is 3.8 million as of 2023. In June 2025, it was registered that the population in Dubai was 3.95. Why is this important? Because Abu Dhabi is clearly a lot bigger than Dubai, and in terms of population, you've got similar levels of growth. The GDP per capita, this is what stood out. So it's almost twice GDP per capita in Abu Dhabi as opposed to Dubai. Why is this important? Because the investor profile in Abu Dhabi, you can argue the average person has twice the amount of wealth. This is what it means. GDP per capita is the GDP output of a nation divided by the population growth. Sorry, the population number. And then also the off-plan supply, right? If we have a look at the supply coming in, look at this divergence. Since 2021 to 2024, 220,000 units in Dubai in comparison to 22,000. So it's almost, 10x.
It's funny, I actually made a video comparing Dubai with Abu Dhabi and Iraq. This is like, I was sort of trying to sell, I'm standing supporting Dubai, because it's like crushing.
Yeah. So, I think all of this information, it paints quite a compelling narrative, right? There is a clear reason as to why people are moving to the area, and they're bringing all these corporations along with them. Plus, ADGM is actually preferred in terms of a free zone to DIFC because it actually practices the English common law, whereas DIFC sort of emphasizes on it but doesn't practice it to the extent ADGM does. I think that's very important. So there is going to be a shift of population coming. This shows that there's infrastructure coming. So the infrastructure value that you can associate to real estate, that's also going to be quite prominent over the coming years. And then this is a big one, right? Because this kind of tells you that the target audience may be different. And this also tells us that we're early into the future development of Abu Dhabi as well, which is very important to know. So yeah, look, Hudayriyat Island. So as Zahed clearly mentioned earlier, Yas Island, which is over here, is like the entertainment hub. You've got Fahid Island over here, which is like the relaxation resort. You've got Saadiyat, which is over there, which is like cultural, and then you've got Hudayriyat Island, which is this land parcel there. And the idea of Hudayriyat is to develop it into this new sports and leisure district. So a lot of the sporting activities are going to be based here. Here are some of them to name a few. So you've got Surf Abu Dhabi, which is like the largest man-made wave, like surfing wave. You've got an Olympic-sized velodrome. So for any of you cycling fanatics, that's going to be pretty good. You've got the largest urban park in Abu Dhabi, and then all of these sporting facilities, biking tracks, you name it, is there. Well, so basically ADQ owns Mudon. ADQ is like the financial institution, and this is like a subsidiary of ADQ. So Mudon was mandated by the government to provide all of these sporting facilities and basically create this whole and develop the island. So Mudon are going to be the master developer. There was actually recently there was a merger with Q Holding, which is another big real estate entity in Abu Dhabi. They've now merged and they're going to be building out this island.
So just one thing, can you just explain where is Dubai, like just to give everyone a perspective to compare to which direction is Dubai?
So Dubai is in this direction over here. So, Palm Jebel Ali, it's all across this road. You would connect to Sheikh Zayed and you'd be straight into...
Sheikh Zayed over there. So I just want everyone to understand where is Dubai. Yes.
So to put it into some perspective, from Dubai, Yas Island, which is here, that's the only place I've really visited in Abu Dhabi. That's about an hour's drive. Whereas Hudayriyat from Yas Island is an extra 35 minutes. Essentially, the main concept here, what I wanted to talk about in the community, is the crown jewels of the community. So you've got the man-made hills by Mudon. So the idea of a man-made hill is that they're going to be villas elevated above sea level. So each mountain, you could say, or hill is elevated 45 meters and 55 meters. So the elevation starts at 5 meters. So the first set of villas, they're going to have 5 meter elevation above the sea, and then subsequently each one has like a 10 meter increase. So the idea behind that is that each villa has panoramic views of the sea, which is very interesting when you consider the concept. It's first of a kind. People are saying it's like the Beverly Hills in the UAE. And I visited the site myself. I visited the plots. The elevation is already there. The structure of the mountains are already there. And then to give you an idea of the offerings on the man-made hills, so you've got Nawayef homes, built up area from 3,700 to 4,700. Plot sizes is 4,850 to 7K. These are starting now from around 10 million. Then you've got the heights. These are like 5 to 7 bedroom, 8, just under 9K built up, ranging to 17K for the 7 bedrooms. Plot sizes, you've got 10.5 to 19,100 on the plots on those. Those are starting at 19 million. And then you also have mansions with basements. So one thing to point out is that the heights and the mansions, they both have basements. The mansions, you can see the sizes there, 18,100 to 29K. And then the plots are 21,850 to 35,500. And the starting price of those is 40 million. So I think the standout thing here for myself is the payment plan. A 40-60 payment plan, effectively 10% down, and then you've got 5% installments. You've got one bullet installment in 2026. But yeah, 40-60 is a solid payment plan for both end users and investors, right? Because for an investor, it means depending on your exit strategy, you can put 40% down and then exit after handover. And then for an end user, someone who wants to get in can actually mortgage the 60%.
Why is this aggressive payment plan? Because that's kind of first project in real estate? Or?
Aggressive? 40-60?
Aggressive in the good way. Competitive, sorry.
I think naturally from what I've observed, the payment plans in Abu Dhabi are more friendly. So for example, 50-50, 60-40, I'll do 65-35. I mean, regardless, right, I think the concept here is getting a villa with a sea view, elevated on above sea level. Where can you get that in Dubai for 1,600 dirham a square foot? Between 1,600 to 2,000 dirham a square foot.
Or how much is that?
That was like starting like, it was pushing to 2,000.
It was 2,000. Yeah.
And that was starting, right? Each phase they're going to increase. So, I mean, just so you guys can have a look here, I wanted to show you.
No, this is what Jake is selling. Jake is constantly selling over here. Jake is Hudayriyat, like how Kamran is Sini Island, Jake is Hudayriyat.
So look at this. So the elevation here should be like 10 meters.
Now we understand why the valley is.
So it's unobstructed views of the sea on this side, and then on the other side it's unobstructed views of like the Abu Dhabi skyline, and as well you have an open water view. Each villa comes landscaped, each villa comes with a pool. I'm not going to go through like all the different types because honestly there's like 10 different types for each, but this gives you like an idea of like what they're doing, right? So, you know, the royal family, like they've all picked up mansions there because all of I mean, if we go back to this picture here, right? So you see in this strip of land here, this is where all the royal family in Abu Dhabi live. So they've now bought houses in this community here. So in terms of, you know, when we're assessing a product, right, we use a framework in due diligence in terms of whether we assess whether it's a good product or not. So developer, contractor, price per square foot, location, payment planning, I mean, it ticks all the boxes. You're buying into a development backed by, well, it is the government. They're part of ADQ.
But it's further ahead though, yeah? It's further ahead.
This is the island.
Yeah.
So they have this whole land parcel. If you go there today, the west, this is built.
Did you visit this place? So you basically cross Abu Dhabi.
From Yas to here, it's half an hour. You come through here and then all the way down. This is the bridge this is the bridge, and you know what they're doing is they understand that, you know, in terms of when this community is mature, they need to improve the access. So there's going to be a bridge here, there's going to be a bridge here, so there's going to be multiple bridges too.
So probably the price is more competitive because it's a bit more far off compared to, like for example, Fahid or this Mora or Ramhan Island has the advantage that it is that entire strip. Right now, let's say Saadiyat is like the #1 place in Abu Dhabi right now. So right next to it is like Ramhan and Fahid and all that, and it's got easier access to Dubai. This is a bit further out. Maybe that's why the price is. So this is like, for example, this is a bit further out.
Bit further out, but from Saadiyat it was about a 10-15 minute drive. And you have to understand that people who are working in the financial district, they're going to want, you know, there's a lack of supply in Abu Dhabi for these quality of homes, right? They're not going to mind. I mean, it's 15 minutes from the financial district, so they're not going to mind when you're.
And it's very close to actually the main, the Emirates Palace, the Emirates Palace. Exactly. So I was staying there during these last, there was some holidays, so I stayed over there for some time. That stretch is amazing. I love that stretch, that little stretch of Abu Dhabi. It's amazing.
So. Yeah, I just thought from a value proposition perspective, I don't think there is a product right now where offers the same value.
Yeah. That's amazing. I always wanted to study.
Best presentation ever.